For the one we just did.
All right, we'd like to welcome you to our city council meeting this evening. Thanks for being here. All council members are here, our mayor, GL, Jennifer. Thank you for being here. Jan up front. We will, let's see. First of all, if you don't mind turning off your cell phones, that would be great. Thank you very much, or just to silence. And I've asked Roger Haglund if he would do our pledge, lead us in our pledge. So thanks, Roger.
And repeat with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Roger. Again, thanks everyone for being here. We'll go, I don't think there's any scouts here, right? Okay. Then we'll go right to approval of minutes. We have our council minute meeting, or minutes for February 19, 2019. Any questions? If we don't have any questions or corrections, we'll ask for a motion.
I'll move approval of the minutes for February 19th, 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have our citizen comments, and there's no public hearing today, so this will be the opportunity to be able to express concerns or questions that you have for the council. You have 3 minutes each. If you'll just please state your name and address, come to the podium, and we'll go to that point. Hello.
Hi, my name is Lori Haglund, and I live at 1575 East Vine Street. It's a charming little house on a charming little street that is about to be destroyed. The Wasatch Front Regional Council and Murray City plan to increase this width of Vine Street between 9th East and Van Winkle to a uniform 81 feet. This is a Wasatch Front Regional Council project approved over a decade ago, being managed and implemented by Murray City. Plans include the addition of a 12-foot center turning lane, 2 5-foot bike lanes, 2 6-foot parking lanes, curb and gutter, 2 5-foot park strips, and 2 4-foot sidewalks totaling 81 feet. An 81-foot roadway will require the removal of approximately 52 mature trees, along with numerous bushes, young trees, and hedges that will be replaced with asphalt and concrete. Mature trees and landscape provide character and shade in the area, reducing the amount of water needed to preserve surrounding landscape areas and reducing the amount of energy required to heat and air condition surrounding homes. Removal of more than 52 large trees will increase the use of water and energy, resulting in additional costs to homeowners. The area is zoned R110, and city code requires that homes be set back 25 feet from the sidewalk. The city's forced acquisition of property from homeowners will create numerous non-compliant homes. Vine Street at Rodeo Lane is currently only 56 feet. 81 feet is a 25-foot increase, or nearly 50% more asphalt. You know the phasing of the project. And I have 285 signatures on a petition against that huge of a project, and we realize that probably eliminating the project is out of the question, but we really think there's a lot of options where you could reduce the impact and still get what you're looking for, and also kind of feel like it's money looking for a project instead of a project that needs money. And we've been longtime advocates of the need for a continuous sidewalk down Vine Street so that children can walk safely to and from school, but we don't think that there's traffic study. There's nothing that justifies the need for this, and I think that a big, huge, wide, sterile street will only increase the need, the desire to drive faster. And as just yesterday there was an accident just 2 houses east from us where the person following a driver that was turning right didn't feel like she was going fast enough, so he decided he had to pass her on the right and caused a lot of damage to her and her car and his car, and they're still really suffering as a result of it. So we ask you to not enter into this interlocal agreement with Salt Lake County today.
Thank you, Lori.
Susan Cohen, 1610 East Monaco Circle. I didn't prepare anything, but I just kind of want to speak from the heart. I think that we do need sidewalks. I think that is very imperative for the kids walking and just even any resident who wants to walk down that street. I do fear that if we widen to as wide as you're talking about, that our street becomes more of a thoroughfare, more of a go-through than more of an area for residents to enter and exit. So that is a concern of mine. Speed is a concern, that as you widen it and as it becomes a thoroughfare, it becomes a much faster pace, which of course will increase accidents like yesterday's accident that happened. People are already going through there pretty quickly, and if we widen it and give that option where there's a turning lane in the middle, then there's really no reason to slow down. So that is, I agree there's something that needs to be done, but I think we need to look at the project as a whole and in pieces rather than just going forth and doing it all at one time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Apologize for my voice. My name's Daryl Troster. I live at 1732 East Havendale Court. The scope of this project, I don't know if it's appropriate or not. I do know that you guys get to try to figure that out. The need for a sidewalk, curb and gutter is pretty evident. My wife and I walk our dog around on Vine Street, and there are a number of places with no sidewalk. There is one enterprising individual with no sidewalk that puts signs up in the summer that tells us not to walk on her lawn and to walk in the street. So we do have a problem, and we do have some areas in that are too narrow, and we do need to address the issue. And good luck balancing all of the issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Roger Haglund. I live at 1575 Vine Street. I've missed you all. Lori, in my opinion on this has been amply discussed. We hope, I think we're now at the point where our only hope is that we might be able to mitigate some of the taking away of the trees that line Vine Street. One of the problems with making a street this wide is it completely destroys the feeling of a neighborhood. If you tried driving into Salt Lake City, into the University of Utah along 13th East, the traffic there is horrendous, and they refuse to raise the speed limit because they want to maintain a neighborhood feel for the people across each side of 13th East. It ends up making people go along 7th East, which is the ideal because it's 4 lanes wide. We have an alternative for getting from 20th East down to 9th East and down to State Street and into the center of Murray. It's 215. There is no need for a 4-lane street, 3 lanes with the turning lane. As we were driving down Vine Street to come here, Vine Street along here has no turning lane. It has parking, it has a bike lane, and it has 2 lanes of traffic. Along Vine Street, where planning is for parking, there's going to be parking where no one will ever park. Doesn't make sense. You're going to take out the trees that I planted from when I first moved there as Christmas trees. If we end up with a 4-foot parking strip, it's going to totally denude that street. The Quicks who live up the street have got some marvelous old cottonwood trees that will be taken down. On both sides of the street, I would invite you to drive up there and take a look. And the last thing I'd say is I think if any of you that sit on the board, sit in decision-making positions, actually lived on Vine Street, on the street, and we're going to have your front yard be brought closer to your house because the street was going to take out 15 to 20 feet of your property, I think that you'd be a little bit more interested in mitigating the damage to the street and to the neighborhood. It's already difficult to cross the street because it's 35 miles an hour. That's not going to be better if you make it longer, if you make the street wider. We've talked before about the need for there to be sidewalk and gutter. West of us, there are places where there is no parking strip on the parts where it's already been widened as wide as it has been. I think this project, had it been a project that started from 9th East and went up to 20th all at once, I think you'd have had more people against it. And instead, it's been piecemealed along the way, so now we're the last stretch. And I sure hope we can come together and figure out a way to mitigate the neighborhood-destroying aspects of this project. Thanks. You've been great to work with on the canal, and I hope we can do the same with this next project.
Thank you, Roger. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Dr. Manoranjan. I live on 6131 South Steeplechase Lane, so the second house off Vine Street. I think my I haven't studied as much, so I will plead ignorance if I say something that's not right. But I think my biggest concern with it is it's an undue expenditure that could be used in other places, because from living there over the last, I moved in there last April, so I've been there 9 months, 10 months. There's just no need, because I don't see the traffic being enough. There isn't a volume that isn't being met. There are no backlogs. There are no jams. There's nothing there that I feel I look at and go, oh, that would be great if we had a wider street. So I think it's a waste of money. I think if we could use that money in other places, I think that would be great. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Beverly Krangle, and I live at 1628 East Vine Street. Right off the top, it looks like I would lose about a third of my front yard, which is giving up a lot of landscape, Japanese maple and a big pine and so on. But I'm wondering where the traffic is going to go. If they widen from Highland Drive all the way down to 9th East, then you are going west and it turns on to 5900 South. I believe you're going to have traffic backing up and a lot of idling going on if you increase the traffic on that road from what it is now. And where are they going to go? 5900 South has already been shaved back. In many cases, they don't either have parking on one side or they have no parking strip. There's one house it can't be more than 8 feet from the sidewalk, if it's even that far. So where is this traffic going to go? So I'm assuming the long-term plan is to go further west on Vine Street, and then that would involve more destruction of homes and trees. We already have Van Winkle. We already have I-215. We have Highland Drive. We never wait. There's one stoplight at the most that you ever wait to get in or out of anywhere on Vine Street. I mean, I've been there for 40 years, and I do not wait ever more than one light, ever. If I'm leaving to go up to Highland Drive, down to 9th East, 13th East, whatever. There's just not the volume. Then we have the increase of Uber and Lyft. There's been major changes worldwide to get people more onto sidewalks and walking and biking. It will be very uninviting to widen the street, taking away the trees for the people who walk and bike there now. And I'd just like to know where things are going to go. We already have 2 elementary schools where they're encouraging children to walk and bike to school. Well, guess what? We have so few crosswalks. We have the trail crosswalk And then there's very few crosswalks in that whole long stretch. So children have to cross against the traffic in many cases, or on a very busy corner. People with disabilities, it's much more difficult to cross a wider street. And I'd like to just read quickly from the World Resource. They talk about a longitudinal study by Swift shows that wider streets increase accidents in cities safer by design. This was a report by the World Resources Institute. It states that safe urban design is about reducing motor vehicle speeds. Reducing street widths creates a safer pedestrian experience. Other studies show the most significant relationship to injury crashes is street width and street curvature. And we also have a curvature too. As street width widens, crashes per mile per year increase exponentially. And that is from the World Resources Report. So I'd like some consideration to shorten to do some adjustment of the width, because to take out that many trees and the shade and the green space is not in the best interest of citizens and a neighborhood. And anyway, I was told that we aren't a neighborhood, but we really are.
Thank you, Beverly.
So I just have a little question for the council. I feel like this is kind of a safety issue, and I'm
Kathleen, will you
wondering.
just state your name so we know you, but for the record.
Kathleen Stanford.
Thank
I'm at 487 East Vine Street.
Thank you.
So I just wonder, could the council, I mean, maybe this is a question for GL too. I mean, couldn't the council just say, no, we don't like this plan. It was voted in by, I guess I'm just wondering. It was voted in by a different council than the one that city council that is now here. Can you do it? Is it a possibility? Can you just say, well, we as a city council now don't feel like this is a safety issue, and we don't think that plan that was made 10 years ago or however many years ago really fits our now 2019 circumstances. We don't have the traffic that we thought it was made when maybe we were projecting a lot of traffic. Can you say not that you don't agree with that? Is that a possibility?
I can't speak for the other. GL, do you want to?
Comment session.
Yeah, okay. Well, then we'll
just address it.
Yeah, we'll just and we'll answer, because I'm going to ask that question when it comes to the business. So
Okay. I mean, is it just left to the citizens to bring a lawsuit against the city or something? I don't know what has to happen.
yeah, well, we'll
Because
find out.
that's not a very fun thing, lawsuit, and it costs a lot of money.
Sure.
And if we can just talk about it, that would really be a great thing for this.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kathleen. Anyone else? Hi.
Hi, my name is Juan Magana, and I live in 6044 South Fontainebleau Drive. 2 houses just south of where the accident happened last night. Moved there about a year ago. We walk our dogs. We always complain about the sidewalks all the time. I'm not disagreeing that it should remain the way it is, but I'm also not agreeing that it should be 81 feet wide. However, I do see the need of making an improvement at least on this side of the road where I live, because every time I want to pull out, there's a house in the corner that has a lot of trees that you can't really even see the traffic coming in. So you have to be almost in the middle of the road on Vine Street to be able to turn either way. So while I do agree that the street needs to be widening, I wish it wasn't wide enough to where the speed will increase, but somewhat widening so that we can actually have sidewalks and better sites for other traffic.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, say no, we'll close that part of the public comments. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All right, so Jan, do I need to read this one then? Okay. This is a public hearing that has been withdrawn, but I'm going to still read it. And consider an ordinance relating to land use amends the general plan from residential neighborhood business to mixed use and amends the zoning map from RNB to MU for the property located at approximately 160 West Winchester, Murray City, Utah. Melinda, and I don't know if Kevin is here with Casey Heating.
I don't believe he is
Okay.
here, but
Then we'll
just
just
wanted
let
to
him-
state for the record that the applicant did request to withdraw
Okay.
the application.
Okay, thanks, Melinda. Do we need to take any action on that or no? Okay, all right, thanks, Melinda. All righty, we'll move on to business item number 1. Consider resolution authorizing the execution and of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City and Salt Lake County for the sharing of election services for the city's 2019 municipal election. And Jennifer Kidding is presenting, our recorder. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you. This resolution would allow the city to enter into an agreement with Salt Lake County for the county to conduct our 2019 municipal elections. This is something we've been doing for a number of years. The amount the county has quoted us is not to exceed $56,451.92, which is the same amount they quoted us 4 years ago for the same type of election. Some of the services the county does provide us are the ballot preparation, machine programming, delivering of our supplies and equipment, coordinating our vote centers and poll workers, and preparing the canvass reports. And I am just asking for approval, the council's approval of this resolution so we can enter into this in agreement and I can answer any questions.
Okay, we had Jennifer explain this in our COW. Any questions for Jennifer regarding the election process and our cost? Okay, if not, would ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to move. I'll move to approve a resolution authorizing the execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City and Salt Lake County for the sharing of election services for the city's 2019 municipal election.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Jennifer?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer. Business item number 2, consider resolution approving an agreement with Murray Depot LLC to clarify certain obligations and responsibilities with respect to the west open space easement parcel located on Lot 203 in the Burke Hill Phase 2 subdivision project. Melinda Greenwood again. Thanks, Melinda.
Mr. Chair, members of the council, thank you for your time. We are here this evening at the request of Murray Depot LLC, and kind of an odd situation where they are trying to clean a title report so that they can purchase this property, close on construction loans. And because their project, Murray Depot, is receiving federal tax credits for affordable housing, their lenders require a clean title. And so where in some instances these may not be issues because of the federal tax credits, these are issues here. So the short story is that in 2011, the city itself breached an easement that was dedicated to them, a conservation easement that was located on Lot 203 in the Burke Hill Phase 2, or in the Burke Hill subdivision, and we allowed that property to be subdivided. The conservation easement stated that wasn't allowed, but because we allowed that to happen, it came back with a title report that there was a breach of this easement, and the title company and the lenders have requested that they do some housekeeping. And so this agreement, the resolution to approve the agreement, just simply states that the breach happened in 2011. It outlines responsibilities that pertain to that original easement and stipulates that the Murray Depot will build the trail that was requested back when that conservation easement was accepted by the city. And then there is also the potential of some encroachment onto that easement with either fencing or parking lot lighting that may, or even a curb that may butt up to or even encroach a slight amount into that conservation easement. So the trail will still be lit or built, and the good news is the parking lot lights will actually light the trail, providing for a safer environment for those who are using the trail. And I think that about covers it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them. And the Murray Depot, Kurt Peterson from Horizon Development is here tonight, as well as Mr. Poole, if you have questions for them.
Thank you, Melinda. We had the opportunity again in the CLW to discuss this. Any questions for Melinda or our sponsors that are here tonight? If there are no questions for the sponsors or Melinda, then we would ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion. We adopt the resolution approving an agreement with Murray Depot LLC to clarify certain obligations and responsibilities with respect to the West Open Space Easement parcel located on Lot 203 in the Burke Hill Phase 2 subdivision project.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Jennifer?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Melinda. Okay, business item number 3, consider a resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Salt Lake County for the transfer of county transportation funds for certain transportation projects within Salt Lake County. Vine Street project. Danny Astle here to present. Thanks, Danny, for being here.
So I think what you have before you, there's 2 different resolutions. So I think the first one is relating to the one on our Phase 1 of the Vine Street widening project. And so what we're here is again talking about Phase 1, and that's between 9th East and 13th East. And this is part of the overall project. Most of this happened before I came as the Public Works Director, but the Wasatch Front Regional Council funded part of this to begin with. The city obviously matches or has to put in money, but the project was mostly underfunded until the county, with their transportation funds, gave us the green light that said that they were going to give us the additional money that we needed to finish this portion of it. So this is for Phase 1. So I'm here to answer any questions you have, if you have any on this piece.
Any questions for Danny on this?
Danny, many of the people here that commented were talking about Phase 2.
Correct.
Has that even begun the design phase?
There's no design. There was the original concept that I understand that the regional council looked at overall, but as we went into Phase 1, there's all kinds of property that the city needed to buy and different things. And as we worked through that process, the way I understood it, engineering had several meetings with the community there regarding those issues, and so they've narrowed it and tried to do the best they can, but still meet the intent of creating a safer way for people to get down through that area.
So there were community meetings.
There were, yeah.
And the people were involved in that process.
Yeah, there were invites that went out on that portion of it.
Then that's the intent of the next phase as well?
That is exactly what we would be doing for the second phase. And we don't have that on our radar exactly when that's going to take place. But when we get this one done, this one's been a 2.5-year project going forward. So it'll be when we get this portion of it done, and we find and commit funding to it, then we'll get the community involved.
Right, so we don't know how wide it's going to be. Nope. Or what property, or, okay.
There are definitely ideas, and the community will definitely be able to chime in and help and make this work. But if you, in that Phase 2 section, if you look at that, there's the way the county had been doing it, there's a portion there's a portion right in the middle that just never got finished. But there's a portion on the lower and the upper end that got widened to the proper widths and the original design. But there's a section in between there that never got touched.
Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome.
Other questions for Danny on this? Please.
So if I understand you, there were some modifications after the community meetings?
To meet that intent and also to meet the property owner's desires as we went through there. There were walls, there were big boulders, there were trees, there were all kinds of things. And so we did the best that we could to miss as many trees. We did the best we could to not get into the walls. You know, obviously, if you do that, then the project skyrockets. But we were able to get the width of the road that we wanted and still maintain. There are some areas that don't have a park strip, but we did get the sidewalk that is needed. So the safety features are all there.
Go ahead.
So what's being considered tonight is Phase 1.
Phase 1 only.
Which is?
That's 9th.
Between 9th East and 13th East. Yeah, that's where this funding is committed to.
Okay. Any other questions for Danny? Okay, thanks, Danny. Bring it back to, or for a motion or whatever your desire is.
I'll make the motion. Motion to approve a resolution for an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Salt Lake County for the transfer of county transportation funds for certain transportation projects within Salt Lake County, Vine Street project.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Jennifer?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Okay, Danny, this is yours also. Consider a resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Salt Lake County. I don't know why it says that twice, but I'll say it the exact way. For the transfer of county transportation funds for certain transportation projects within Salt Lake County, Hanauer Street project.
So, as you know, this is also on has been on our radar for quite a while, and it coincides with the downtown area and the overall plans taking place there. We asked the county for additional funds to build this road, and they've committed again some of those funds for us. This will be able to get us from start to finish.
Okay. Any questions for Danny on the Hanauer project? Okay, we'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion approving a resolution for an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Salt Lake County for the transfer of county transportation funds for certain transportation projects within Salt Lake County, Hanauer Street project.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Jennifer?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Danny. Next, we have our legislative report. Councilman Cox.
Well, as we all know, the legislature's in session, and the talk of the town is 441, the Tax Equalization and Reduction Act. What their intent on this is to lower the sales tax rate, but broaden the base. They're saying they will lower, income tax and other taxes, but there's no real firm plan. It's still very liquid. They want to put a tax on health insurance. They want to put a tax on lawyers. They want to put a tax on just about everything that isn't taxed. So they're touting it as a tax cut, but they're taxing everything. So, it really affects us because we have a strong sales tax area in Murray. It depends on how it all shakes out. There's, a week left, Dave?
Yes, sir.
There's about a week left, and it's a moving target. I think probably it should go to interim for more study. You think they probably have it figured out before they put it in writing, but we'll see what happens. There's that possibility, but there's a lot riding on that, and we'll just see how the vote comes out. But I don't think anybody knows the unintended consequences. They talk about lowering income tax. Income tax goes directly to education. Even if we make out on the sales tax, sales tax doesn't go to education. So, there's a lot of things in this bill that are still hard to quite grasp. At the LPC meeting the other day, we spent about 2 hours discussing this, trying to understand what the outcome would be, and nobody knows. So we'll have to see what changes are made and how it all shakes out. They are delaying the implementation so they can kind of see what the effects of these taxes are. But there again, I guess I can't take a stand one way or another because I'm an elected official, but I can't see taxing health care and things like that. It's hard enough to get it now. But anyway, that's my own opinion. The second one is Senate Bill 129, which is Public Safety Firefighter Tier 2 Retirement Benefit. There's been a couple of adjustments made to that. As you know, well, or you may not know, years ago they revamped all the state retirement, and they took our first responders from 20 years at 50% to 25 years to 37.5%. So that means in 25 years they can retire with 37.5% of their income, which probably very few people could live on. These men and women, what they do for us in those 20 to 25 years, what they see, the mental toll. I have a son that's a police officer. He's just turning 25, and he's seen more in his short term than I will ever see. And I've always said, these men and women live in that world, so we don't have to, and they do it voluntarily. So anyway, there were a couple of changes made to that, and the League of Cities and Towns now endorses it. The main change is right now there's a 14% cap, or there's a 12% cap, on what the cities have to or will contribute to their pension. That's going to raise to 14%. I think we're right around 11% right now, so we're still under that 12% cap. So we're going to raise that cap by 3%, and the cities will fund it, and we'll see where it goes from there. But hopefully that will pass, and we can support our first responders. HB 320, Container Regulation Act. This bill prohibits a local government entity from regulating or imposing a fee on auxiliary containers unless it is used on the property owned by local government. So a lot of people call that the plastic bag law. There's a lot of cities that are going away from using plastic bags at the store, or they're putting a fee on those. Everybody has their own opinion on that, but I know they aren't recyclable. I know the landfills are filling up with them. They're blowing every place. So, there's pros and cons on that. But the legislature is trying to take the initiative away from the cities to be able to pass a law within their cities. There's a few cities that already have. We'll see how that turns out. And then the initiative referendum bill amends many of the provisions of the Citizens Initiative, signature collection information, publications, public meetings, and elected official explanation and due process. ULTC supports the bill while negotiating continues. What that is we had several referendums that there's already a very stringent process you have to go through to get a referendum on the ballot. We had several on this last election, so they're looking at that and adjusting that as well. Those are the ones. There's how many, Dave? Over 1,000 bills up there.
Yes.
So, and there's still a week left to go, so who knows where any of these will end up and what other things will pop up. But those are the ones, and especially the public safety and the tax equalization. Those two will definitely have an effect on Murray's pocketbook and on the citizens of Murray's pocketbook. Thanks,
All
Chairman.
right. Thank you, Dale. We'll now go to the mayor's report. Mayor Camp.
Thank you. I have no report this evening.
All right. Any questions for the mayor? Okay. Thank you. We're adjourned.